This is Top Shop Podcast.
Shop Podcast.
Top Shop Podcast.
Podcast for automotive service business owners by Paul Donahue.
Hey, Top Shop Podcast owners. Michael Glowacki, he is with Big Life Financial. We met at the ASTA trade conference. I met a lot of great people that are involved in the automotive aftermarket industry. Michael has a unique perspective because he was with a dealership for some time and worked with the service manager. And he's going to discuss on today's podcast some unique financial strategies that are applicable specifically to auto repair shops that your CPA or accountant or bookkeeper may not be applying because they just don't know. Is that correct? Is that a good intro, Michael?
Well, it's accurate, and I would say that the way I phrase it is that the CPAs don't tell the business owners about it. The CPAs are trained to be like chief financial officers, but they're not tax strategists.
Correct. Yes. I do a lot of podcasts with a lot of owners that have been in business over 10 years, successful shop owners that have been in business over 10 years, because only 4% make it that far. And they laugh when I ask them about, all successful shops, they handle their finances well. So, and getting the P&L from your CPA or your bookkeeper, and you see that you made money and you throw it and say, okay, we're good this month. So they all laugh at that because they used to do that, and now they really know their numbers. And they know their marketing numbers. They know they know all the numbers and thankfully the repair shop owner today has the benefit of these really fantastic shop management programs that can really help them dial in on numbers. I mean, what's your average car count per week? What's your average ticket? What's your customer lifetime value? And then marketing agencies like us, what is your average cost per lead? How many leads are you getting per month? How many of those are converting? Right down to, we can really hone in. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Michael. I mean, how did you get into the financial arena? And then how did you end up, kind of being able to, I believe you're also very adept with construction companies, but how did you actually get into this niche of the automotive aftermarket industry and kind of specialize in knowing some tax strategies that could really help our listeners that they may not be aware of?
Well, I own my own business for, about 15 years. And one of the things that I discovered was all of these numbers that business owners need to pay attention to. Like you mentioned the marketing, you mentioned the profit and loss. It's not strictly just about cash flow, because one of the biggest expenses that every business owner has is income tax. So every year we have to pay income taxes. And if we're doing well, a lot of times our CPAs will tell us, great, that means, yeah, you're paying more taxes because you're doing well. It's a reason to celebrate. When we actually know, well, we've earned our money, we don't really want to overpay. So one of the things I've discovered, and you were asking how I got into this, so I sold my business, so I did an exit, and I also found out that when business owners sell their business, then they have to use that money in some other way, and there's always implications for that, financial tax implications and other considerations. So how I got into this profession is I wanted to learn more about how to make better financial decisions after exiting my business. And I found somebody who was near retirement. He was telling me about these tax strategies and investment strategies, and then he referred me to somebody who was active and had a business, was building a team together. So I joined this team at Big Life Financial. What we do is we help business owners, and we got into the auto shop segment because we know that everybody is going after dentists, for example, because they know dentists they have a lot of cash flow, they have a lot of profits, but not as many people are paying attention to the needs and the unique situations of auto shop owners. And so we found, because auto shop owners have the same needs as any other business owner, and they have a few special considerations, Many of the strategies we use really do apply for auto shop owners, and I'd be happy to get into a few of those in this podcast if time permits.
Okay, awesome. So what are some specifics that we can give to the listeners that they can do to help them lower their tax obligation?
Okay. One of the things that we notice is we're looking at a return on effort, return on energy. So if you want to have a better experience as a business owner, when we're looking at taxes, this is always, it feels like a cost. It feels like a penalty. And what we notice is, in a way, it's a fine. Some ways, this is a just kind of a general statement, but income taxes are the fine we pay for being successful. The way that we want to look at it is that income taxes, we just pay what we owe, and we try to do our very best not to pay more and not to, get caught underpaying or doing something wrong. So we're very careful about compliance with the law, and we're also very careful at realizing that the amount of tax law is a large amount, and most tax preparers are only prepared to know what they need to know to serve the majority of their clients. One of the strategies that business owners, and a lot of shops are structured as an S corporation, one of the strategies that business owners can do is that they can adjust how much they're paying themselves and how much they're taking as an owner's draw. Another thing, in some states, there's something, there's the pass-through entity. That's what an S corporation is.
Right.
In some states, state sales tax or state income tax. I misspoke. There's a state income tax. If they have the business pay the state income tax rather than have it withdrawn from their paycheck, that income tax obligation still gets satisfied with the state, but then the business owner, you just have to fill out the proper forms, and then they get to have more take-home money because the business paid the state income tax rather than their personal check paid the state income tax. So these are things that are different in everybody's situation. And there's another strategy that I'd be happy to go into, and this is interesting because with shops that have several employees, there's something every shop owner is doing. Even the sole proprietors I've talked to, they're always looking to keep improving things. And a lot of the smaller sole proprietor businesses, they're working in like computers or like systems. They might be doing something like you mentioned, all the different management systems that are available, diagnostic tools, diagnostic systems. These investments, those are usually adequately reported on their taxes, and the payroll, like the expenses of paying employees, is adequately reported. But there's an extra credit that's a little more complicated that CPAs on general don't know about or don't realize that this is something would apply to auto shop owners. It's called a research and development tax credit. The research and development tax credit applies because they're working on something in an engineering or technical, it's a technical field. Right? There's a process of trial and error. So there's some errors, and a lot of times those errors are not adequately reported, they're not adequately analyzed. So the process, there's 4 parts to this test. There's a technical thing, there's experimentation, there's trial and error, and there's a possibility of loss or failure. So these 4 criteria, when you apply them to different projects, different activities that every shop owner is actually doing every day, like every work day, they're doing these things, there's an extra credit that can reduce their taxable, reduce their income tax bill around 5 to 10%. Stack that with the other strategies that we help business owners do, we can get up to saving about 30 or 40% on their income tax bill. Sometimes this works. This doesn't always happen in the first year. This is often a multi-year strategy. So we can help with doing what are the strategies we can use this first year? What are the strategies we can use the next year? And it becomes cumulative.
Can you give me some examples without mentioning a specific, owner's name, which you can't do? But can you give me some, examples of, hey, we took over this shop and their tax bill was this, and after we went through and worked with them, their tax bill was this, and they're very happy. Of course, due to
Sure.
I can
talk specifically about it without names or anything specific. Okay. So working with a company, the research and development tax credit helped him save about $20,000 in 1 year from his tax bill. Then he was able to use that and adding another strategy the following year. We can actually look backward. Let me talk about this research and development tax credit. This is a nice thing. It's possible to go back up to 3 years.
Okay, up to 3 years, and you can go backwards.
We can recover money, and that money we can recover money, so you actually have more money coming in as a refund.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of businesses don't get tax refunds, but in the cases where we find where they've overpaid, then they will get a check back. The nice thing, if anybody's gotten a check back from the IRS for taxes they overpaid a long time ago, there's interest applied as well. We can use the research and development tax credit. There's also a tax credit that is location based. So if a business is located in something called an empowerment zone, then there's a credit, and it's just basically filling out a form correctly, of course, filling out the correct forms correctly. We would be able to help them recover up to $9,000 per employee.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible,
Wow.
but it's typically, it's not usually that much. That's like the most. Okay. And that would depend on where the employee is located, where the employer is located. So for everybody that we work with, in order to discover whether we can help them, we provide no-cost tax strategy session and review up to 3 years of their tax returns and documents. And then if we have enough information, we can help them plan for the current year. So they can make changes the current year to save on taxes when they're next due.
Wow. So you can actually go back in a shop's records for 36 months and hopefully get them bigger write-offs for the current year based on things that you guys know that you could do that weren't done, that weren't applied in the previous 36 months. Is that correct?
Yeah. So
that's great.
I think you understand it. And the way I'd look at it, we can go back 3 tax years. So the tax years have this. And what we look at, we can go back, as many tax years as allowed. And
so right now it's 21, 22, and 23, right?
Yes, if they filed late. So the deadline to file, as we're recording this podcast, the deadline to file for 21 just occurred on October 15th. That's the very last.
That's a 30. So there's a 36-month delay. You can kick the can down the road for up to 3 years.
Well, no, that would be.
I was going to say my accountant kicks the can down the road till like August or September. He just does the extension.
The deadline to amend the tax returns. So everybody has to file, for 2023. If somebody filed an extension, the deadline to file their personal taxes was due October 15th. The deadline to file their business taxes was the prior month, September 15th.
Okay.
Basically, those deadlines are always something that's going to impact. And this is why it's always a good idea to file an extension to give you extra time, even if you know you can file early
Okay.
or on time.
Okay.
Okay.
Is Big Life Financial, you were mentioning different states, different laws. Are you guys national? I mean, so you look up each state's particular laws and you know what they are. So,
Yes.
okay, but you're
We
national,
have
no matter
several
where the auto
teams.
repair shop is at. Yep.
Yep. So you're right. We work with businesses several states. I would say from North Carolina to California, from Colorado down to Texas,
Hmm.
Idaho actually down to Texas. I realize we have some clients up further north, and our team is actually, you know, like the nice thing about this is that we actually have tax professionals and we have other professionals who are um, divided into different teams. So there'd be a specialist for research and development tax credits. You know, our support staff can do a lot of the document gathering and make sure the project management gets all the way through, that things get done.
Hmm.
We have people who are, you know, the financial advice, that's a national license. A lot of the tax preparation, that's a national license. So we're able to work with everybody across the nation.
Okay, so you guys are nationwide. Awesome. Cool.
Right. I wanted to make sure that made it clear and straightforward is that, yes, a lot of these tax strategies, we can look backward, but sometimes if business keeps growing, the most important impact we can help people do is in their current tax year. So we can look at what they might have been able to do in the past, and even if we can't implement those strategies retroactively, we can still help give them the right strategies to take and actions to take in the current year so that their next tax bill is lower.
Okay. So are there write-offs or other opportunities that CPAs miss?
Yes, because they're usually, so a lot of CPAs are very, very, very conservative. The reason CPAs are very conservative is because they have a stable of clients. Let's say about 600 businesses. If they make they take a big risk or they take any risk and then that's reviewed by the IRS and found to be an error, then the IRS has now the right, and they usually do, they go say, you made this big error with one client. We want to investigate all your other clients. So that's 600 audits that get opened up. And that's one of the reasons CPAs are very cautious.
Right. Okay.
So that's why we work with accountants who are experienced in particular specialties, and we provide that information to the business owner to use their CPA, or if they're, want to, basically what business owners need to do, like Robert Kiyosaki would often say, is you need to expand your financial advisory team. And so you have a tax preparer, and the tax preparer does your taxes, but they don't have the tax strategies, or they don't have the extra training in some special tax, tax credit, like the research and development tax credit or other things, because that wouldn't apply to 500 of their clients. That only apply to maybe 50 of their statement of 600 clients.
Yeah.
So they have to make that. They have to make those decisions. What do I invest my time and effort into learning how to do?
Yeah, there's I heard like with pilots, so you want to become a private pilot, you buy a plane. Well, that it's highly suggested that you get a specialized financial advisor and accountant that handles that, because they know the types of write-offs that are specific that the average doesn't know. So having a financial advisor in your back pocket is for your shop is going to be service that you would need over and above your your typical CPA, and especially for the shop owners that are growing, the ones that are getting up into that 3 million, 5 million, 10 million area. Then now I was always told that a good CPA, whatever their fees are, they pay for themselves, supposedly, right? All right. And I would imagine that would be the same with Big Life Financial. You guys would be able to come in and say, look, here's our fee. This is what we do. We look at what the CPA does, but here we drill down a lot deeper, and are able to find you tax strategies that, that just the average typical CPA is going to be unaware of, because they handle beauty salons, name a business. Yeah. They got 600 clients, and they're probably in 600 different areas. Some specialize in one particular area, and that's what we're seeing with business, is more and more specialization. So specific companies working to focus with specific niches, and getting away from the broad. Because when you niche down, just like we did, into a specific niche, we would do digital marketing for auto repair shops. So we were able to significantly increase our effectiveness by focusing on that particular niche and what their needs are. So it's the same thing with you guys, right? Nothing different, right? Okay. So, hey, Michael, you had mentioned something about a tax strategy session. Now, I got an idea what this is, because we do a discovery call. We don't work with every shop. There's a lot of shops that have unrealistic expectations, or for one reason or another, we determine we're not a good fit for them. So we don't launch into let's give you this sales presentation on how great we are, or blah, 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 like a lot of other companies do. We know what our abilities are, and we do a discovery call with people, and we just ask them questions. What are your goals? Where are you now? Where you want to go? How much your gross revenues now? How much do you think you should be investing in digital? What are you doing now with your digital? What's working? What's not working? And then at the end of that call, we can determine, hey, I think we might be a good fit for you guys, or no, we're not. We can possibly steer them in the right direction. So is that kind of what your tax strategy session is? You kind of get with somebody and figure out.
Yes, let me describe it.
Okay, great.
So our tax strategy session actually we'd do about a 30-minute call of discussing the business owner's goals. We'd also talk about what they did last year, financial, like big picture financial wise, what they did last year, the income, any changes they made this year that would have a tax impact, how their business is doing this year. And then we say, okay, we will look over the past 2 or 3 tax years and see if you could have saved money, or if there's a way that we can help you save money to get back taxes you've overpaid. And then that should give us enough information that we can say, here's these other strategies you can implement this year for the current tax year and lower your future tax bills. And that way we're able to determine that with this assessment. And so it's not, we don't know this at the end of 30 minutes. We usually have enough of a relationship that the business owner is willing to share the documentation we need to make that assessment and to propose the strategies that'll work for that business owner's individual situation.
Okay.
And then we have a follow-up call where we share that information and the tax strategies. We can even talk about how the business owner can use that money that they saved or the money that they recapture to make tax smart investments. And these are not the normal deferred tax investments like an IRA or a 401k. These are tax smart investments that actually could lower your tax bill further, or that you can have grow tax free and never have a tax bill on them if they're set up properly. And some of these strategies are available only to business owners or business owners at a certain level because of their net worth or their income.
Right. Okay. And is there a fee for the strategy session?
No, it's worth about $600. We don't charge anything for that.
Okay.
Because we both want to make sure that it's going to benefit somebody. In fact, I had one of those results presentations earlier this week. We found that in that particular business owner situation, he's not yet at the level where our services will help him, but we let him know that up front. Well, I mean, we let him know that in the course of the conversation, and he was actually glad and respected us for telling him the truth. And he wants to refer people to us. We see a future relationship together anyway.
Okay.
And then at another strategy session this week, where the business owner was ecstatic and very enthusiastic about the things that he learned, and he wants to implement them right away. So, it's different for everybody, as I'm saying. We're not necessarily turning people down. We're just telling them what's going to work for them. If we don't have anything that'll work for them, we'll let them know. It's better just to not have any pressure and provide that service for as many people as want to take advantage of it. I gave you a link where people can schedule such a phone call with me. We can just do this over the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And also, everybody who books one of these strategy sessions will send a link to download a free ebook titled "Tax Strategies Your CPA Isn't Telling You About," and that way they'll have a better understanding of these strategies. And even just booking this, you get that free resource. We can find out if there's some way that you can save on your taxes, because business owners, as you said, getting to the $1 million, $2 million, $3 million level, they're probably having a big bite every April.
Right. Yeah. It's a great way of doing business, because I do the same thing with our clients. So our potential clients. So we do a basically strategy session discovery call. It's around $488 in value. And we just do it with them to see whether we can help them out. A lot of times we can just give them some advice on what they can do with their present situation in order to get them to the point where they could work with a company like ours, because a lot of them are just too small, Michael, that's a great description of your tax strategy session. Sounds a lot like ours. Can you give me an example of one of these tax strategy sessions and what came out of it?
Right. So one of the clients referred another client to us, and we talked to both owners. We got their documents, their business and their personal income taxes, because it was structured as an S corporation.
Okay.
Then we were able to find conservatively about a $60,000 tax savings for each of them. And we also presented that if we are also careful and compliant, but a little more aggressive on it, we could save each of them about a $240,000 tax bill each. So they're paying so much in taxes that they would save $240,000 each owner on their income taxes.
That's significant.
Yes.
Yes.
And the fees we charge are a small portion. So when you mentioned about the fees, I'll just answer that in the way my client did when I asked him about it when we were interviewing him for his results. He said he gets this much back, and the fee is like just a portion of that. So it's all found money.
Sure.
That he was paid.
It's free money. It doesn't matter what your fee was. It's free money.
It's basically free money, because
Right.
It's no actual net cost.
Right. Correct. So you deduct the fee from what he got back, and it doesn't matter. There is no fee. It's just what you get back. It's all. Right. It's like I said. It's all to the good. It's all plus. So yeah, that's phenomenal. So I think I asked earlier, how did you guys end up really being able to focus in on and help the independent auto repair shop owner? I know that you work with a lot of, I think you work with, but you work with a couple of other different industries, but your main focus is two.
So we work with a couple industries. My particular focus is auto shop owners and construction companies.
Okay.
And what we've noticed is that these strategies and tax credits apply to auto shop owners. And we found that they responded very strongly when we went to conferences like the ASTA Expo,
Mm-hmm.
or vision. When we go to these conferences and we teach a class, the people who attended the class respond so favorably. One person I talked to after the AST Expo, he said his feedback to the organizers of the expo was that they wanted the class to be longer so they could get more information.
Wow.
Right.
That's great. That's great. Now, speaking of Vision, so you do a class at Vision?
Well, yeah, as I mentioned, we have a team. So I believe
Okay.
one of our team members presented at Vision. Yes.
Okay,
My
that's
understanding.
awesome. So if any of you guys listening go to Vision, and if you don't know what Vision is, then I suggest you go to Vision KC and find out. It's one of the, I'd say it's one of the best, if it's one of the top for sure trade shows and organizations, Milwaukee, Midwest Auto Care Alliance. Definitely, if you guys haven't heard of that, you need to go to visionkc.org, I believe, and take a look at that, because there's it keeps growing and growing. There's like 3,500 attendees now, and they're all auto repair shop owners. It's not auto body shop, it's auto repair shop. So talk about a networking opportunity. The training there is unparalleled. The amount of training that you're receiving, the amount, I think the Sherry Hamilton, the executive director for Milwaukee and the ACA, I think she said it was like 40,000 hours or 4,000 hours. I can't remember. It's a lot of training that's there. And some shops shut down for 2 or 3 days. They just were at Vision, or they run a skeleton crew, and they take the owner, the manager, the head tech. They all do the training. They all go to the trade show. So it's great that you guys teach there. They don't let anybody in. I'm going to do everything that I can in the next 2 or 3 years to be able to qualify to be able to do a digital marketing class at Milwaukee or at Vision, but the requirements to get in are very stiff. And by the way, Sherry does not allow any sales to occur during her training classes. It's training classes. Everybody at the end of the class can mention themselves for 5 minutes and float their boat, but the people are there to learn and get knowledge that's going to help them grow their shops. Vision Trade Show delivers. So if you guys haven't been there, definitely go, and we can see you there. I'll see you there. And you don't go yourself, right? I won't see you
Well,
there.
I didn't go this past year, but I'm hoping we haven't planned everything else for 2025. So
Right. Yeah. So I'll be there, by the way. So I just thought I'd let you know. So we actually doubled our booth size. So do you notice any specific challenges that the auto repair shop owner is facing with finances and taxes that have changed like over the last 3 to 5 years? Have you seen a change in the landscape?
That is a really good question, because I haven't heard it before. So let me talk through it, like think it out loud. What any challenges that business owners have had in the past 3 to 5 years? Well, aside from what happened in 2020 and 2021, there's some significant challenges in the economy and in society in those 2 years.
Right.
People were probably, maybe took advantage of some of the special, like pandemic related tax credits.
Right.
So could cause a problem if those tax credits that they applied for didn't come through yet, because there was a delay from the IRS. We were helping a lot of business owners with that. We found last year in September 2023, the IRS slowed everything down, put a halt. And so that's slowed down for, people who claim that tax credit. So that could delay, dealing with like using other tax credits that interact with the employee retention credit.
Okay.
And then there's, so I mentioned is that when a shop owner has a relationship with their tax advisor, their tax preparer, they think that tax preparer is the expert on all tax stuff. When we have discussed this with the business owner, and the business owner didn't bring in their CPA soon enough so that we're interacting with the CPA or the financial people, so that everybody understands what we're working on, what our mission or goal is, then they say, here's what I found out, here's what I want to do. Well, then that other person is like, they might feel like, wow, I have never heard of this, or I have to make sure this won't endanger my stable of clients, or that I'm not taking a risk doing that.
Mm. Okay.
And so that is a obstacle that business owners face, is that we want to work with everybody involved, and that's if somebody wants to work with our team in a more comprehensive way, like the tax preparation as well, that's why we have a team. One of our teams is all about that,
Okay.
for the tax strategy and tax preparation.
Okay.
So we try to provide a more integrated and comprehensive strategy and planning service for business owners.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Well, great. I really appreciate your time today. I think the smart thing to do is the auto repair shop owner, just click on the link that we put below in each one of these short video clips, and in the main one, you can get a hold of Michael at michael@biglifefinancial.com, and it can't hurt. It's a free strategy session. So highly suggest you take advantage of it to see if there is possibly money that's sitting there that you can apply to this year's tax credit that you just didn't know they were there. So that's fantastic. Okay, so we really appreciate you taking time out of your valuable day, and hopefully I hope to see you again at Vision or at ASTA or any of the other trade shows that we attend. We're on our way to SEMA next week, or the week after next. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much, Paul. I really appreciate it.
For additional automotive resources and exclusive content, follow us on Spotify and subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all our episodes. Thanks again for joining us in the driver's seat, and we'll see you next time for another thrilling episode of Top Shop.